I just got back from a 4-hour trip. I didn't mean for it to be that long. Just wanted to go out to the Hull Gut and back. But, well, spirit moved me, so I just kept going. So I put together this video. It has a little exploration of Gallops Island, which we're not supposed to be on. And also George's Island, which was completely abandoned. So I hope you enjoy. And if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to subscribe and press like and the notification button and all that great stuff. Thanks a lot, and join me on this trip. We're here on Gallops Island. This is one of the islands in the harbor. Right here is Gallops Island, and right there is George's Island. Beyond there is Hull. This island right here has had a whole bunch of different uses over the years. It's been a place where they trained Army radio guys. It was also a quarantine station for soldiers that had contracted the Spanish flu. There was a restaurant here. Today, it's actually technically closed to visitors, so I'm not going to be hanging around here too long. Apparently there's some kind of asbestos remediation going on. Not clear exactly on where they are with that. I did want to show a little bit of panorama here. Right there is Boston. And then that's Winthrop and that's Deer Island with the sewage plant. And right there, that little triangle, that's Nix's Mate. That is actually an island. It's not much of an island anymore, but it has a very, very interesting history. And I'm working on something kind of special because Nix's Mate has got some interesting surprises. Well, I guess that pretty much says it, doesn't it? Okay, I'm not going to hang around here too long. I do want to take a look at this pier, and then I'll boogie on out of here. These are, I guess, modern ruins of the old visitor center entrance. It is tempting to do a little exploration. There doesn't seem to be much here. Caution, asbestos. Well, let's not disturb anything. I don't want to go out like Steve McQueen. Here's a panorama from the old dock at Gallops. It has certainly seen better days, but look at this view. It's absolutely gorgeous. Right here, this is Long Island. Long Island used to be connected to the city. There used to be a bridge that went out there that got taken down a number of years ago due to safety. But this island actually belongs to the city of Boston, not to the state, and right now it's strictly off limits. It's had all sorts of interesting uses, but it has some really juicy history. So I'd love to figure out a way to get on there and do some exploring of that. Right there's George's. Let's make that the next stop. This is George's Island. This is where the big boats come in. So we're here on George's. Island looks deserted though. I haven't seen a soul on it. Might be after hours. Well, let's take a look. Coming up on the entrance to the fort. Looks positively medieval. They even have a moat, clearly a dry moat. So no, not filled with waters and crocodile. And of course this is wide enough for horses to take a carriage in. And these doors are reinforced with this metal. So very hard to break through any of this with these metal rods that are going through the layers of door here. And here is the inside of the fort. Let's take a look around. So this is Fort Warren on George's Island in Boston Harbor. It's a really well preserved fort dating back to 1850. Interestingly, it was obsolete once it was completed. The fear, of course, was that the British would be coming back, as they had just a few years earlier in Baltimore and Washington, D.C. When the fort was completed, it really didn't have much of a mission until 12 years later when the American Civil War broke out. And this became a place for Confederate soldiers to be kept, those who were prisoners of the Union. A couple of the people that were here were Alexander Stephens, who was the vice president of the Confederacy, and one Simon Bolivar Buckner, Confederate general and friend and classmate to Ulysses Grant. They had been in Mexico together. Buckner surrendered Fort Donelson to Grant and ended up here as a prisoner of war. Interestingly, Buckner in the post-war years would marry a much younger woman, have a child. That son was Simon Bolivar Buckner Jr. Simon Bolivar Buckner Jr. would be the highest ranking American officer. He was a general who fell in action in World War II. He was either Iwo Jima or Okinawa, I can't remember now. Just a little bit of a connection. Over here, where this gate area here is, this is where they did the hanging of a woman who tried to spring her husband out of jail. So he was a Confederate soldier. She made her way up north, cut her hair short, somehow got a Union soldier's uniform, rode across from Hull, and came in here and tried to break him out. She got caught, and they hanged her. They didn't have any women's clothes, so they took a black curtain and wrapped it around her. She is supposedly still here, haunting the place. There's been a number of paranormal sightings of her. This is the parade ground here. And then over there, that building right there is the powder magazine. Makes sense to put it out of the way, because God forbid if that goes up, you don't want to have it connected to too many things. This would be used as a fort all the way till World War II, and then mothballed after the war. Now it's a museum and they do events here. It's really a wonderful place to visit if you ever get a chance. Walking over to the powder magazine, the walls inside, they'd be lined with wood, which makes sense. See if I can get some light. Now it's brick, but I guess in the old days this would all be wood, because the worry is that a soldier's rifle might scrape up against, cause a spark, and make this whole room below to Kingdom Come. This would be where some of the bigger guns, or I should say medium guns, they had bigger guns than this, located. It's swivel. Look right up over here and blast anything that would come in. Of course, the fort was never used in wartime. It was built right after any threat of an overseas invasion was practical. And, well, once World War II came to an end, it was clear that this type of defense technology wasn't really practical for late 20th century warfare. Here's the parade ground from above. And look at this, here's a cannon. So there are the wheels that would go on the track back and forth. And then of course, with the concussion, it would probably rock back. This is definitely old school, but probably very, very effective, especially if you had to get a direct hit. Here's a panorama looking back towards the parade ground and the inside of the fort to the edge, and now looking out into the harbor. Over there, the inner harbor, Boston. That was the island we're just on, Gallops Island. Nix's Mate, that little pyramid. Winthrop and Deer Island with the sewage plant. Here's another view looking out to the Brewsters, Calf Island, Green Island, Boston Light. You can see it's starting to become low tide, so it's very treacherous for boats to come through here. A lot of rocks are beginning to surface. That is town of Hull. This is Hull Village, Allerton Hill. It's connected. These are drumlins and they're connected by tombolos. The tower way over there, I'm not sure how much you can see using this GoPro. There's another fort over there, Fort Revere. They also had guns pointing mostly in this direction. And then right here, Petix Island was also a military base. And as late as 1940s, they were using that for Italian prisoners of war. So there's a lot of fairly recent history here in this area. And of course, these islands date back to the very founding of Boston, which is 1630. Hull Village was already thriving around that time. So this goes back almost 400 years now. The structure here has a lot of these walkways that connect the top to the bottom. And these tunnels. Really a lot of fun to explore this area here. Wow. There's a really huge space on the inside. Well, it's time to leave now. So let's head on back. Take one last look. 1850 Fort Warren. And this is the way we came in. And still haven't run into a single soul. Last look around, there's the visitor center, the docks that take in the main boats. We have a great museum in there, little restaurant on the other side, more areas and facilities this way, but I'm the only one here today, so it's very, very quiet. This is the crossing from George's Island to Hull, right there where the windmill is. That's the very tip of Hull. That space between the windmill and this island, this very narrow space, is called Hull Gut. It's a little bit treacherous. It has a lot of cross currents and a lot of boat traffic in and out. So it can be real hairy to get through. I'm going to make a run for it once I hit this buoy and go as fast as I can just to get to the other side. On the other side there, where the windmill is, on one side there's the high school, on the other side is the Coast Guard search and rescue station. So all the search and rescue for this area is actually not done out of Boston, but done out of here. They have a better access point to all these islands and all these areas for boating. as I understand it, during World War II, they also laid cable between, or chains between these two pieces of land here in Hull Gut, because they wanted to prevent U-boats from coming in this way. U-boats really did get close, especially by 1942. It would really amaze most people to realize just how close German submarines were coming up to the New England coast. Soon, I gotta put the pedal to the metal here and make a run for it across the channel.